Good afternoon from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Continuing on my seaplane adventures, I have decided to tell about certain countries and different experiences I had there. I'll try to make it entertaining somewhat, but a lot of times it was scary. Let's go with India. Uh, there's not any time order on this stuff here, so uh, I had a condo in Penang, Malaysia that I bought. Nice place on the ocean. I got a call or email from a headhunter in Singapore. They needed a seaplane pilot and in India, and so we made an agreement. And I flew down there business class or over there from here, not really down, and they put me up in a hotel in Bombay for a month. I guess you call it Mumbai now, and nice hotel. Loved the food. I had to wait for all kinds of license, blah, blah, blah. I kept flying back and forth to Delhi. It was winter, October, November or something, and very cold in Delhi, actually. And fly back and forth, and I stayed in a hotel in Bombay. I took these tuk-tuks and trains everywhere. What an adventure. I was getting paid really good money. The guy in Singapore, Frank, was making sure I got paid. So finally, eventually they gave me my license in Delhi. It was a big deal for them, like crazy big deal. I mean, I had to come up with every beyond form. I mean, those people are crazy about documents and paperwork. I mean, you have no idea. It's crazy over there. So I finally got permission, and went back to Bombay, and the aircraft had been ferried to the main airport there in Mumbai, and I had to get the airplane over to this smaller airport, Juhu Airport, which was not far at all. And but getting out of there was hell. The airport's extremely busy, and to get a slot, right? So, and you had to get, of course, you have to get permission for engine start. They treat a caravan amphibian just like an airliner. So, and I have airline experience. I know all about it, how it works, and I had to get a slot to fly out of there. And I didn't have a battery start cart, and I kept going back there, and I'd get on the radio and wait, and then the battery would go down, and then later they'd bring a start cart over and recharge the battery. And finally, it just ended up one day where I had to start the engine to keep the battery charged, so I had enough charged for the start. And the security came out with rifles or machine guns and surrounded me and pointed them at me, and they said, "You didn't get a permission to start, blah, blah, blah." So that didn't work that day. But eventually I got the aircraft to Juhu, and it was a big ceremony. They had doctors and of love, doctors of the minister of this, and there was a midget. I got a photo of him with me somewhere in here. Put it on here. And what an experience. And I got over to Juhu, and of course they tried to overload the plane. I had to ferry it to Bhubaneswar, which is the best route I could find to get to Port Blair, my ultimate destination. And we couldn't get out of there. They kept bullshitting around with ceremonies and TV crews and filming, and I mean, it was endless. And overloading the plane, I kept taking stuff out of the aircraft, but I had to have a co-pilot because I couldn't understand the Indian language in English on air traffic control. Finally, we got out of Juhu late, excuse me, and too late, and flew. This is a maximum range for a caravan, and I landed at Bhubaneswar at dusk in with the low fuel lights on in IFR, low IFR. Man, it was close. So we parked the plane, spent a night, had some Kingfisher beers and peanuts. Got up next day, they wouldn't let us back into the airport because we didn't have a security badge for that airport. This is common, just it's endless over there. And so finally we took off from there, flew over the ocean down to Port Blair. That was another 5 hours or something. Got the aircraft down there, and what a crazy adventure! I spent 9 months there. I quit a couple of times. I got threatened to be put in jail for offending a minister. I got thrown out of 3 hotels just because they didn't like me, because I was different than them, I think. I saw a lot of really nasty stuff going on in the street that I don't want to talk about. Seafood was great. And let me see, I put a couple notes. The controller guy, the manager of the control tower, demanded that fly with me all the time. Everybody liked the seaplane there, and they endless selfies. It was crazy, but he wanted to fly in the right seat all the time, so I'd let him. And he wanted to fly the plane, completely illegal, but I had to do it. And he was a terrible pilot, but then he got pissed off at me for whatever, and he made me land the seaplane in the 8,000, 9,000 foot runway like a jet, and land on the first 500 feet runway markers, and then I had to taxi for like a mile. And if anybody here's ever taxied a caravan amphibian, taxiing a mile doesn't work very well. It's all brakes. You have no steering, and so I couldn't talk him into it, and so that was a giant waste of time. And then I got threatened to be thrown in jail by one minister because I flew over a place doing a survey with them, and I said, it's okay, we don't need to land. And they said, no, you have to land. I said, it's not necessary. We're in an Augusta twin-engine helicopter. And I said, well, you're going to waste your fuel and everything. That was a big fiasco. I had to call the embassy and escape the next morning. And they have their own private immigration there. So you have to go through 2 immigrations when you get from India to Port Blair. First into the mainland India, and then Port Blair has a separate immigration office. So I quit 3 times. They kept begging me to come back. They went through 100, or not 100, but many pilots. Nobody would stay. They had the record. There was one guy got there and left the next day. So at 9 months, I had the record. Everybody says I quit a lot, but I had the record here. Pretty funny stuff. And let me see, I put some notes on here. Let me see, I'll go through them. Oh, let's see, the alcohol, the test there. We had to do, every day we had to do an alcohol test, drinking test. I like beer, and peanuts there were great. Beer, Kingfisher Premium, excellent beer. But instead of testing, what they did is the lady at the doctor that worked for the government, civil aviation, just gave me, every month, gave me 30 forms, and they would send them over to the where we were at in the office, and I'd sign them and they'd stamp them. So for the whole month, I never got tested. Pretty funny. Anyways, that's kind of what India was like, but that was madness out there. It's a very isolated, desolate place, and man, it is just a different world. And if you want to look it up, the Port Blair prison, it's a miserable place. All right, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Any questions, go ahead and ask. Bye.